since we're getting close to 7 o'clock.
I have to tell you, the other night I watched an HDC meeting on YouTube, the YouTube channel. It was the first time I'd done that. That was really interesting. I'm not a big YouTube person I know a lot of people use YouTube TV and that's where stuff. I had never done that. So for me, it was very interesting.
Hmm.
Now I have a better feel for what people see when they're watching us.
Right.
I noticed that our meetings are big hits. I mean, we're having like 15, 18 hits where the town commissioners are getting, thousands or whatever, but we're going to strive. We're going to get triple figures here
Right.
one of these days.
Yeah, we just need to start talking about a gas station. We'll get there.
Mhm.
Bill, it's all about the ratings.
Yeah.
I would prefer not going on record about the gas station.
Yeah.
Is that the Bucky thinger? That's in
Yeah.
Efland, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that is wholly out of our control, right?
Completely.
Yes, that's Orange County.
So I'm not out of line by saying if you want to build that monstrosity, you do it in Texas, where you've got nothing but space.
Well, yeah, I think you're okay.
Okay.
Doing that. It's not in our jurisdiction. You're an Orange County resident.
I think you're good saying that until he starts the YouTube taping.
Yeah.
Oh, I've already started that, but
Oh, now you're in trouble.
well, I think that's gotten to it. That project is getting to a point. So,
Yeah.
Has there been movement on it?
I think so, but I'm not sure where it is.
Yeah, I think they had a hearing last night
Mhm.
or the night before. I can't remember if they had a hearing or the lottery drawing. Something big happened last night. And then today there was the big thing in DC. Yeah.
Oh, something happened in DC today?
And now I've just read DC's already shut down streets. So I worry about my friends who live up there. One of my buddies who lives by the Capitol told me the FBI knocked on his door over the weekend to ask, did he have like security cameras or a video doorbell and could they borrow his footage?
Sequester your ring footage?
Okey-doke. Yeah. He's like, the
Oh.
FBI just knocked on because he's down in Southeast, pretty, like, I want to say a block or two away.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It was kind of disturbing for me because I worked on Capitol Hill. I was a legislative aide for David Price for a while.
Mhm.
And it was very disturbing to watch the images and see everything. Cause I was like, I know that place, I mean, I've been there half a gazillion times and it's just like, it was very disturbing from that standpoint for me.
Yeah. When I heard, so I used to go to the Madison building a lot because I would do research out there. And so when they said like, they've evacuated the Madison building, everyone's in the tunnels, I'm like, I know exactly where they are. I've been there a lot.
Yeah. We're driving Sean to drink. He's already gone to get a drink.
Hydration.
I was like, drinking a puppy.
Yeah. Well, we're not even going to ask you what's in that bottle.
Water.
Water.
I'll go on record with that one.
Mhm.
And the dog was just outside the door when I went into the hallway. Hey, bud. Who might we be waiting for?
Well, we know Tom already told me Dustin's not coming this
Well,
evening.
Dustin is because Joe
Okay.
said he got that the vaccine, Raul,
Well,
and he was having side effects, so he was going to beg out. Well, he just emailed and said he's going to log in case he's needed.
Dustin is.
Dustin is going to attend because I told him that Joe was. No, that
Okay.
was Raul that I told.
Okay,
Someone's gonna have to leave.
okay.
We'll let them make the call.
Raul, I heard you're having grandbaby number 2.
It's coming. Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Stephanie must be so happy.
Oh man, they're so happy. Yes. We're so happy. The whole family's happy. It's another girl too.
Good.
Okay, we are waiting for Dustin, I guess,
Okay.
Joe, and the applicant.
Is Miss Broadway in the waiting room or?
No,
Okay. So do we, with 4, is that enough for a quorum?
that is enough for a quorum, but
But it's not
you
enough to
all
do-
have to vote.
Okay, well, why don't we go ahead with the 4 of us?
Okay,
Let's kick off the meeting and we will go through the things we've got to do that we can do with a simple quorum, and
Sure.
then we will make the decision what will happen if Miss Broadway joins us and
Sure.
Joe. Okay, so I call this meeting to order. It is, I guess, 7:03 p.m. The meeting of the Board of Adjustments for the town of Hillsborough from January 13th, 2021. Tom, can you confirm we have a quorum? Go through the roll
yes. Bill Harris,
here.
Sean Keogh,
Present.
Raul Herrera,
Here.
Jen Sykes.
Here.
Okay, and
We have a quorum to do general business.
business. Okay, and we'll play that by ear then as we go later in the evening. Okay, has everybody had a chance to take a look at the agenda? Are there any changes that we need for the agenda this evening? No? Okay.
None
Has
on my
everybody-
end.
Pardon me?
None on my end.
Okay. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting? Did anybody see any changes, modifications, edifications, anything that needs to be made? No? Okay, could I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Move approve.
Jen makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Raul seconds. Tom, could you call the roll for the vote?
Bill,
Yes, aye.
Sean Kehoe,
I
Raul Herrera,
Aye.
Joe Becker, excuse me, he's not in yet, Jen Sykes.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The next thing we've got are hearings of the nature of certiorari. Certiorari? Yes, okay, you know, my term is up in April of 22, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have it by then. The next thing we've got, item 5, is the quasi judicial hearing, so we're going to pass that because the applicant is not here and we do not have a sufficient board for that. So let's go to item 6, other business, which is the review of the final resolution relative to the case that we heard last month for Tryon Business Center 2, the conditional use permit modification. That's the last 3 pages in our package that Tom sent out. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at that? Are there any changes, modifications that need to be made to that? No, I don't see anything.
I'm getting a phone call from the applicant.
Okay, well, let's go
Town of
ahead.
Hillsborough Planning Department, Tom King speaking.
Hello,
Yes, ma'am.
Dustin.
Hey,
Yes,
Bill,
ma'am.
Thanks for joining us.
no problem.
Tom is
You're
on
not
the phone
showing
right
up.
now talking with the applicant. I think she's
Okay.
probably having trouble getting on.
Are you seeing us? Did you join through Zoom? Okay, you are not showing up as even in the list of. You don't need to be going through YouTube. You need to, the email that I sent you, you should be joining through the Zoom link. I don't, maybe you have or haven't done that. I don't know how much you do this.
Dustin, while
Yeah.
Tom is on the line with them, but what we're doing now is we've gone past the quasi judicial meeting and we're looking at
Yes,
the resolution that we did on the town, I'm sorry, the Tryon Business Center last week.
yes. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Did she find the Zoom link, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So while she's going on, let's go ahead and finish this up. Did anybody, when we left, nobody had any issues on the resolution from the Tryon Business Center? Okay. Could we have a motion to approve the resolution
Move approve the resolution.
as presented? Jen, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Raul seconds. Tom, could you call roll?
Bill Harris,
Yes. Approved.
Sean Kehoe, Jen Sykes,
Aye.
Raul Herrera,
Aye.
Dustin Williams.
Aye.
Sean, did we get you as a yes?
Yes, you did. Okay, so the last item for the evening then is the quasi judicial hearing, and we will wait until the applicant is able to get online. She's trying, I know right now, so let's see hopefully she'll be able to join us here shortly.
Okay, Miss Broadway, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Hello, Ms. Broad, glad you could join us.
Hi, thank you.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to kick off, we're going to open the evidentiary hearing to hear the appeal or the request for variance
Yes.
that you have. So what we'd like to do, let me see which case this is. This is the case, it's case number BA01 2021 at 518 Buttonwood Drive. Miss Nina Broadway, applicant.
Do we want to open the
So
hearing?
what we're gonna, yeah, so what we're gonna do at this point is we're gonna open the hearing. Can I have a motion to open the hearing?
Motion.
Second.
Sean, Jen seconds. Tom, could you take a vote for the approval?
Bill
Yes,
Harris,
yes,
Sean Kehoe,
Aye.
Jen Sykes,
Aye.
Raul Herrera,
Aye.
and Dustin Williams.
Aye.
okay, so for today's variance hearing, there's 5 board members present, 4 have to vote in order to grant the variance and approval. This hearing is quasi-judicial evidentiary hearing, which means that it's like a court hearing, and the state law sets specific procedures and rules and parameters on how we have to make our decision. These are different from many of the other types that we've done, but we will follow these specifically. Our discretion is limited, and it's based on competent, relevant, and substantial evidence as presented in the record. It is not necessarily, a popularity contest of who's popular or who's not popular, or what's good or what's bad, but there are specific rules that we have to follow. And that the decision is constrained by the standards in the town's UDO, and it's based on the facts that are presented. So, Ms. Broadway,
Yes.
I understand you'll want to talk, and I know, Tom, you'll want to talk. So you'll need to be, I'll need to swear you two in so that you can talk. Let's do Tom first. Tom, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir, I do.
Broadway, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, Ms. Broadway, you're entitled to an impartial board to make sure that there are no conflicts or biases so that we give you an impartial hearing. So at this time, I'd like to ask the board members if any of them have had any ex parte communications with regards to this case. No. Whether or not you have been to the site, I will tell you that I went out and I drove by the house, the residence yesterday, just to get a feel for where it was and what what we're going to be discussing. But I will say that that does not influence me in any way, rightly or wrongly against this project. I just wanted to make sure that I understood, what was going on. So Ms. Broadway, does that cause you any angst that I went out and took a look at your property just to see where it was located?
No, I would think you would want to see it.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have any other conflicts of interests? Any predetermined notions with this? No. Okay, so there will be no recusals on this particular case. So let's proceed to the case. So Tom, could you present us the staff report on this particular case?
Yes, the applicant is requesting a 3.25, 3¼ inch variance from the 20-foot side yard requirement of the R20 zoning district to allow a covered side porch to encroach into the setback. It's already been built. For some background, the property's been in the town's ETJ and zoned A20 or R20 since December 6th of 1979. I believe the house, according to the tax office, was built in 1962. The setbacks for the A20, now the R20 district, have been the same since 1979. So that's kind of some background of the area. It's in our ETJ, our extraterritorial zoning jurisdiction, so it's not in the city limits. I was contacted by Miss Broadway in late July of last year about whether or not permits would be required to enlarge a side porch on a home, and I told her that it would. She applied for a zoning permit, gave some very detailed drawings, a copy of a survey from 2010 showing the existing side porch, and admitted that it had been enlarged. Some work had been done on the house after a tree fell on it, and instead of just rebuilding the porch back or the stoop back, she enlarged it by about a foot or so. So I discussed with her what her options were, one of which was a variance. And that's kind of where we are here tonight. Her other options were to appeal the determination. The other would be to apply for a text amendment through the town board to see if there could be some maybe allowance for certain covered porches that encroach so many feet into a setback that could not only help in this situation, but maybe other situations as well, whether they be existing or someone proposing to do so. At issue here is kind of, if she had built back the original stoop in its original footprint, that could have been done because it was already encroaching into the setback a few feet. She actually could have expanded it further to the north if she wanted to make it longer. She just couldn't get any closer to the property line. And I want to enter the staff report into the record. There's a copy of the 2010 survey, Miss Broadway's zoning permit application and drawings. and a recent survey showing the existing side porch and roof overhangs as they exist today.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions of Tom before we go to Ms. Broadway? Okay, so Ms. Broadway, I know that I've seen your application, I've read it a couple times here, so I know that you understand that based off of the North Carolina general statutes, there's four qualifications that you have to meet in order for us to grant a variance. And I've seen that you've addressed the four of them in your package. So I'll turn the floor over to you now so that you can give us your case, your evidence as to why and how you think you meet each of these requirements in order for us to provide this variance. So Ms. Broadway.
Have all the board members have access to that same material that I sent in? Have they read it already?
Yes, all of us have read it.
Okay. So I don't really have anything further to add except to possibly emphasize that the increase in the width is actually less than 1 foot from the previous porch. It's 0.94 foot. And I believe I've stated everything in my application. I really don't have anything further to add.
Okay, I guess I know we've done one of these before. So there are 4 particular criteria. So let's walk through those 4 criteria that we have to meet, and the board will take a look at them and see what we think we can meet or not meet and have you try to help us with this, okay? So the first is that an unnecessary hardship would result from the strict application of this ordinance. Okay, and there's some other qualifiers, but that's basically it. We don't have to prove that that in the absence of the variance, nothing else could be done, reasonable use for the property. But the question is unnecessary hardship. Do the board members have any questions on that? You've seen her answer here. The question, I mean, I guess the thing that I have is, it seems that you're saying that the hardship would be that a disabled person, if somebody in the future bought the house, that a disabled person wouldn't be able to have wheelchair access. Is that correct?
Yes, that would be the entrance where the ramp should be added the way it is now.
Because it's on the driveway side and by the carport and all that stuff.
Yes, and because it's already after the fact, unfortunately, I didn't realize there was a setback, but so that's the side I chose to enlarge because the tree fell on it and I had to do all the construction anyway, so I just enlarged that part.
Okay. Does anybody have anything on that? I mean, that one's difficult. That one's difficult because it says that, you're planning for future events, and I understand that. Yes, Bob.
Unmute.
Unmuted. I'm just going to ask Ms. Broadway is there anyone who's wheelchair bound or otherwise disabled
In the house.
house now?
No, I actually did not intend ever to move from this house, but I can't afford it, so I'm moving. I actually had in mind my own family, if anybody got in that way, or friends who wanted to come over, or, I had my daughter's one friend who was wheelchair bound, and unfortunately she died before I could have a ramp added. But there is nobody in the foreseeable near future that's going to be using it from my family.
Okay.
Bill, can we advise that Bob Hornick is the town attorney?
Yes, I'm sorry.
And-
If Ms. Broadway didn't know that, Mr. Hornick, who just asked you the question, is the town attorney. And he sits in on our meetings to make sure to answer legal questions and help us with interpretations of the statutes and things like that. Okay. All right. The second one says the hardship results from conditions that are peculiar to the property, such as location, size, or topography. Hardships resulting from personal circumstances, as well as hardships resulting from conditions that are common to the neighborhood or general public, may not be the basis for granting a variance. So, and I understand, your argument here seems to be that the way that they positioned the house 50 years ago has created a problem for you in terms of that side entrance. But there's also a front entrance, is there not, that you could
Yes,
you could have used?
I could have, had I been aware of the variance, and I could have definitely just rebuilt the side porch to the original size and then added,
To the front.
reconstructed the front porch rather than the side porch.
Okay. Yes, Sean.
Am I correct in understanding that the original footprint of the side porch was already encroaching in
Yes.
the foot setback?
Yes,
Yes.
it was.
Okay.
It was about 2.5 feet in. And then she added, roughly a foot.
So even
She
if,
said 0.94, I think, and I think Tom's package said 1.1. So basically it's a foot in, which makes it 3.5 feet now from into the setback to get
so if
to
we
20
were to
feet.
apply the strict application, even
Yes.
the original footprint would be in violation.
Yes,
Correct.
yeah,
Except to be aware, the original footprint predated the zoning regulation, so
right.
the existing stoop there would have been a legal non-conforming use. And I think that's right, Tom.
That,
Or
the
legal
house was built in
non-conforming feature.
the house was built in 1962. One would assume that there would have been a front door and maybe a side entrance, but who knows when the side entrance may or may not have been put in.
Yeah. But yeah, unless it was put in after 1979,
Right.
then there were no zoning or setback requirements. I believe you said the required.
Correct. Prior to December 6th, 1979, Orange County didn't even have zoning in Hillsborough Township until September of 1981.
Okay. Any other issues, questions there? Okay, number 3 says the hardship did not result from actions taken by the applicant or the property owner. And this one's a tough one, Miss Broadway, because you self-acknowledged that you didn't realize that there were setbacks, and so you did it when you could have gone to the front porch and done it. Does anybody have any comments here, questions? No. Okay, and then the 4th issue is that the requested variance is consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of the ordinance, such that public safety is secured and substantial justice is achieved. I think that's probably the easiest one to say that you meet, that we could easily, well, not necessarily easily, but I think we can, see how that one would be met for sure. So does anybody have any other comments there? Okay, I'm going to put Bob on the spot, and I'm going to ask you for some legal questions. And I don't know how pertinent this is. So Tom, in your package here, you said that the R20 requirement to be a conforming R20 lot is that it has to be 20,000 square feet and 100 feet in width.
Correct.
Okay. And you said that this property is actually 99.88, which would
Okay.
round up to 100, but it's not exactly 100.
It's
So-
not exactly 100.
does
Previous
does it-
surveys indicate that it was 100 feet in width. I talked to another surveyor and asked you've got a survey on record from I believe the 50s that shows the 2 lots comprising this one are 50 feet wide. You've
Right.
got an unrecorded survey from 2010 that says the lot's 100 feet wide, and now you have a current survey that says the lot's 99.88 feet wide. Which governs? And his response in his professional opinion was the most current survey, whether it's on public record or not. That surveyor has recreated the original. And
Okay.
so
So-
that governs.
So technically it could be considered a non-conforming lot.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So second question, Bob, that was the easy part. That was the part I thought that I understood. But on, what page is this? Bob, do you have Tom's package he sent us?
I sure do.
Page 42,
42. Okay.
table 7.5.4.
I'll see if I can pull it up.
Got it.
Okay, everybody got it? Okay. Go down to page 42, Tom, so everybody can see what I'm talking about. And we'll let Bob, I need your legal interpretation of what this means.
Okay.
Well, just because. So under table 7.5.4 or the footnote number 2, it says cumulative side setbacks. This is for non-conforming lots.
Right.
It says should be evenly distributed on a property such that both side setbacks are the same length. So what I'm looking at is exactly what does should mean in the legal definition?
Well, we don't have a legal definition, so we use an ordinary, your ordinary everyday definition. Should is not mandatory, but it is expressing a preference,
Right.
not a requirement.
Okay. So given that, is it reasonable? I mean, we're splitting hairs here on 99.88 and should be evenly distributed.
Mhm.
Because I'm kind of sensitive to the applicant and the homeowner in that, this project has already been 10 years established.
Mhm.
And if we grant a waiver, well, basically for me, it's a variance of a foot is what I'm thinking, because the other 2.5 feet we
Right.
believe we're already there.
Right.
What are the other
So-
board members? Go ahead, Bob. I'm
I
sorry.
was going to say, so if you consider this lot to be non-conforming, which is a call you can make, you could also, I think, consider it 99.88
To be
is
100.
the same thing as 100.
Yeah,
That's one way of looking at it. So, if it's only if you consider the lot to be non-conforming that
That's it.
should makes a difference.
correct. Okay, Tom, can you take that off now so we can all see
Yes.
everybody on the screen? Thank you. So for the other board members, I'd like to hear your opinions on this. Because quite honestly, my opinion is that if it is a conforming lot, that the applicant definitely does not meet at least 2 and probably 3 of the 4 conditions, and therefore no variance would be, authorized. If we considered a non-conforming lot, we could look at that as whether it should be, and recognize that when the home was built on the lot 50 years ago, it was 30 feet on one side and only 16 or so on the other side when I look at the diagrams. Okay, can I get some opinions from people? Yeah, Bob.
And I was supposed to say, and maybe this is obvious, but what's important about that is that if it's non-conforming and if we interpret should as should, not shall, then the cumulative setback, side yard setback requirement of 40% of 100 or 40 feet is met, correct?
Yes,
And
I believe it is because it's 30 feet on one side and it would be 16 on
16.
the other.
right,
That's 46 feet out of 99.8.
right. So there, that provides a little more flexibility, perhaps.
Yeah. Okay, Tom, did you quit sharing your screen?
Well,
Oh, you wanted to leave it up? Okay,
no,
the other-
somehow I got,
okay, I'm just making it smaller. I can see everybody. Okay, I'd really like to hear other opinions here. You know, Sean, Jen, Raul, Dustin, what do y'all think? Especially Dustin, you've been doing this a long time, Dustin. You're near the end of your tour. And Jen, you've been on a lot of these, you know, planning boards and things. What are y'all opinions on this?
I think I can get behind the idea that this is a non-conforming lot and should is not shall.
Okay, Jen? While Jen and the others are thinking, Tom, Bob, if we did that, does that create any other issues for a non-conforming lot?
can we repeat that again? I was trying to get back to you
Sorry.
all.
Yeah, what I was going to say is if we go with that interpretation, you know,
That this is a non-conforming lot.
does that create any other issues for the applicant, Miss Broadway, that maybe, you know, are worse than the alternative of not granting a variance? You know, does that create any other problems for her that we?
Can you
don't
give me an
foresee?
example?
No, I don't know that, you know, a non-conforming lot has to, I don't know, have 3 feet of, you know, underground water or something, you know, I mean, I don't know.
No, it shouldn't create a problem. The only thing is that no setback
Can be less than 10
using
feet.
that formula can be less than 10 feet.
Correct. Yeah, and one of the other things, one of the reasons that I looked at this is because when I did drive by the property and I looked at it, in between the applicant's property, Miss Broadway's property, and the property next to her is a driveway and a carport.
Right.
And I just looked and I was like, I don't know. I was just, you know, it was just like, okay, so how much does that impact? You know, I'm trying to be fair to the applicant. I'm trying to be fair to the neighbors, and I'm trying to be fair to the town UDO. I'm trying to find a win-win for everybody if it's possible.
Yeah, it sounds like you're trying to avoid the law of unintended consequences too.
But I don't want to create any problems for Miss Broadway down the line that are going to come back to create a potential problem.
Looking
for
at
her.
the survey, and in response to your question, Bill, there's nothing that jumps to my mind as being potentially put at risk if the board were to favorably consider the application.
Okay,
I don't see another issue that might arise as a result of it.
okay, thank you.
And
Jen?
with non-conforming things, at least in my experience, they non-conforming, the other stuff will arise, but it's always non-conforming. It's a free-for-all on all sides. And I thought you were going to go down the path of does this set a precedence in other ways? And my thought was everything that's non-conforming is different. It's so
Yeah, everything is
idiosyncratic.
different.
Right, right.
Okay. So do you have, in general, Jen, would you be supportive of that?
Oh yeah, I think it's an
Yeah.
elegant way to solve this.
Okay, Sean?
I'm conflicted.
Okay,
on one
Raul,
hand,
you're next, so don't just sit there, be thinking.
I flat out believe that 99.88 is not 100, and that it, yeah, especially if we're talking about a porch that hangs over just a foot, then we need to, it's a game of inches. If it's 99.88, then it's not 100, so then it's not conforming. My head goes to Ms. Broadway. Are you comfortable having your property deemed non-compliant to R20? Will that have any unintended consequences for real estate value or resale? But then also going back to the 4 criteria that it has to meet to be allowed. You know, you've said that you were unaware of a 20-foot setback. Ignorance of it does not excuse it. I also have questions about, you know, the builder, and maybe they should have been aware of any variances that would restrict a project that they're, I assume you paid them to do this job, and now you're having to deal with this. Also, you know, the only hardship that I heard spoken of was somebody that needs access to a ramp not getting it, and there's been no mention of if we say no, are we forcing you into greater costs of having to demolish and rebuild something that's not going to fit anyways? I agree with Jan. I think calling it non-complying is a wonderful solution. I don't know if there's any questions in there or if that was just me ranting. But I am sympathetic to you, Miss Broadway. And you know, I don't see why a porch a foot over the variance is a big issue, especially if it's not complying. And the 40-foot setback is met with 30 and 16.
Okay. Thank you. Raul, what's your,
I'm in favor to grant that variance to Ms. Robert.
okay. So it sounds like we are in agreement. So Bob and Tom, as basically the town representatives, any issues that you would want to raise before we vote on that? Any evidence that you'd like to present?
Town staff is, for better or worse, have not really used that cumulative setback. The idea being that it's easier to apply. Now, again, this is based on usually when someone is building something, that they want to know, what are my setbacks? Well, you have a non-conforming lot. Based on this table, you can do this for ease of administration, which doesn't make it right. We try to keep the setbacks standard. So
yeah, and I
that's
agree with
just
that.
because that's the way they're laid out in the table in section 6.
Right.
So that's that issue that we have.
Okay, and we're sensitive to that, and okay.
I had
All right.
another point that I wanted to make, but it's gone. Well, the point I wanted to make is this whole facet of the case didn't come out until I received the new survey. Prior to that, and in previous discussions, the lot was 100 feet wide.
Yeah, and we wouldn't be having this discussion right now if your package said that it was 100 feet wide.
And by that time, it was we're kind of too deep into it.
Okay. All right, Bob, you wanted to say something?
You know, I feel the board's anxiety about whether this application meets all 4 standards. On the other hand, in my 35 years of experience, I've seen variances granted when it was further away from meeting the standards than this one. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so I'll go ahead and make, you want to say something, Bob? No? Okay. I'll go ahead and make the motion that, I guess the motion would be that the property is, we deem this property to be non-conforming based off of the width
So
established.
you're
What?
gonna make a finding.
A finding. Okay, so we make a finding. The finding is that this property is non-conforming based off of the width of 99.88 feet compared to the requirement of 100 feet. And as a non-conforming lot, we grant the waiver given that it meets the cumulative.
There's no waiver. We're making findings right now. Why are you going to
Yeah,
make your decision?
Thank you. Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay because we don't do these very often.
Right.
Okay, so the finding is that it's non-conforming because it is 99.88 feet compared to the requirement of 100 feet for an R20 lot. The second finding is that it meets the cumulative side setbacks. It meets all the side setbacks. Even though it is not evenly distributed, it meets the cumulative requirement for setback. And that.
And that's per the 7.5.4 table.
Correct. And
So
that,
can
go ahead.
I'm having a little trouble, I guess, understanding that. So I need to do my math. Give me a second. So adding those two setbacks together, 19.976 would be 39.995. So we're saying that given the house's setback from the south property line versus the north property line, that cumulatively,
Yeah, it says the cumulative setback, actually it says shall not be required to exceed 40%.
right,
And so because it's at, as you said, then 39 point, whatever it was, it doesn't,
952.
yeah, it doesn't exceed the 40% and no one side is less than 10 feet. Correct?
Right.
Okay,
And so based off of those two findings then, or those findings, that we grant the variance.
well, my question now is the variance even necessary?
Well,
Okay, that may be,
that would be, I think, a conclusion that we can reach based on those findings, is that based on those findings, the board determines that the variance is not necessary and that the property meets the setback requirement for non-conforming lots.
I like that even better.
Hmm.
Thank you. Okay, I
So
like that.
Bob,
Thank you.
what would be that would be the determination to close make that decision and close the hearing?
Right. And therefore, the variance application is moot.
Okay, does someone want to make a motion to close the hearing?
Jen moves to, do we have a second?
I second.
Raul, Tom, could you take the vote?
Bill,
Yes.
Sean,
Aye.
Jen,
Yes.
Raul,
Yes.
Dustin,
Aye.
Okay, thank
that's
you.
unanimous.
So, Miss Broadway, thank you.
I'm going to offer Miss Broadway my apologies because this was a lot of trouble and expense,
Well,
and I will take full responsibility for my actions.
Okay, Miss Broadway, I'm going to jump in before you do. I don't think that there's any apology necessary, and I don't think you missed anything. I think you did exactly what you're supposed to do, Tom.
Well,
And that is our collective judgment as a board that when you got the new survey,
Okay.
it moves it to a non-conforming lot, and we are comfortable with that decision.
Deadlines had to be met for notices, and it was,
Tom, you make your decision based on the information you have at the time that you make the decision. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
okay,
And
well,
I don't think, you don't need to apologize for doing your job.
well,
Yeah, you did
No.
exactly what you're supposed to do. And Miss Broadway, we hope that you are able to make, the adjustments to your property and to sell it and everything. We're sorry to see you leaving Hillsborough. We think it's a great place to live, but we hope that you'll find a new place, a new home, and be happy there.
Thank you. I appreciate all of your diligent efforts to find the best resolution. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a nice evening, and good luck with your relocation.
Thank you.
Okay.
thank you, Ms. Broadway.
Thank you. Okay. So Ms. Broadway, you can leave the meeting if you would like at this point, because we have a few more things for us to discuss.
Ms. Broadway, I'll be following up with a letter. I'll pick up the sign tomorrow morning, and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good night. Okay. I think that is everything we've got, because we did the
Committee
other.
and,
we
well,
did-
we've got committee and staff reports, and I can be
Okay.
quick
Yep, and that's all we've got, because we did the other business before.
first.
Okay. So, Tom,
And anyone who wants to leave, Raul is on vacation. Raul, if you want to get out of here, anyone that wants to, you take care, okay?
Thank you so much. Have a good night, everyone.
See ya.
Raul and Dustin in particular, thanks for joining us, gentlemen, because I know that it was questionable for a while, but we needed 5 for the hearing.
Yeah,
So thank you very much.
yeah,
Thank you.
between 4 and 6 was
Thank you.
getting dicey.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Grandpa.
The only thing I'm gonna note, I think on the public hearing coming up for the next Thursday, there's I think a rezoning request for some properties up on NC 86 North, between the town, Thale Construction and the Orange County Public Works site. There's also gonna be some text amendments. I believe those are gonna be some changes I wrote to the TRC process, which essentially takes the TRC out of being an approval body and more of a review body, and makes site plan approval as planning department, and that's whose decision someone could appeal to you,
Okay.
rather than this staff board. I think the town board and the planning board are also going to be seeing some changes to the non-residential design standards, possibly, which will also start including multifamily of where there are 5 or more units proposed, so more apartment complex projects. And then there's some minor changes to the waiver process and how and when it gets applied. And lastly, earlier this month, the Village at East Meadowlands project got approved. It was annexed, rezoned to residential special use, and they got a special use permit. That property has changed hands to Habitat for Humanity, so the plan is a 76 unit townhome project. And that's it.
Okay. Jen, do you have anything from planning board?
Yeah, piggybacking on a lot of it Tom covered, but one of the big things is the change from the legislation that the state passed about changing the process with these boards. Planning kind of decided that what we want to start doing is reviewing what our uses are in our permitted use table. We did it maybe 18 months ago. We're going to go back again, do one more round through it more in depth to kind of eliminate, I think it was we have to eliminate special use permits, I think. So we'll be doing another round of going through what are permitted uses by right in the different zoning districts. as the first step in that process. So we'll be kicking that off after the next public hearing.
Okay. All right. Bob, did you have anything that you wanted to share with us?
Can't think of anything off the top of my head that hasn't already been covered.
Okay. So I guess the last thing, Dustin, Sean, I don't see anything there from y'all. So the last thing, Tom, I would like to reiterate. I personally am very appreciative of the work you do in support of this board. And, you know, the time you put into it and your job, you know, in the town and the planning and all that stuff is not easy. I'm rapidly finding out in my short tenure here on the Board of Adjustments that this is no kind of fun. So, you know, all of the work that you do is very appreciative. You know, we're very appreciative of it. And you should not in any way, shape, or form, you know, feel that you somehow let somebody down because you've done exactly what you're supposed to do.
Well, part of that was self-pity. I let myself down because it's like, why didn't I think of that?
I think Bill just missed a career as a lawyer.
Well, you know.
No, but you know, sometimes it takes multiple people, you know, looking at things to see something a different way. Because I can't tell you, you know, in my job when I was working, that I would do things and someone would come up and they would identify something that, and I would go, duh, you know, what was I thinking? You know, so no, I appreciate you and Bob guiding us through this process because a lot of us are newbies, you know, new to the board and going through these things. So we're learning quite a bit too. So thank you.
I'll just add that I've said to Tom over the years more than once that that's why there's a Board of Adjustment.
Yeah.
For tough cases like this, I mean, that's why there's a Board of Adjustment to help.
And
well, the one thing that I will start doing based on this is paying very close attention to that cumulative setback. It's difficult for me to wrap math is not my strong suit. Understanding the cumulative setback, that's just going to be a little bit of a learning curve for me to
and I think we're
get used to applying that.
Yeah, and I think we're looking at a little bit in error originally when we were talking about it, but I think you've got it now. So we're good.
in cases like this, where it's honestly an honest mistake with a setback, are some of the hardest ones I've seen. Like, I think we've probably seen 4 or 5 of these in my time, and they're tough because there's no malice here. It's just a foot here.
Right.
So
I haven't had them on this board, but on planning, I think we've had 2 where they've had to, it hasn't been the usual suspects with an after the fact waiver. But I remember one coming in where it's just like, our surveyor just set it up in the wrong place and we're off by just ranging from like 3 feet at one end to being off by like 10 at another. And you're like, and it's just a wall of concrete. What do you do?
You know, or when a right of way isn't centered on a street.
yeah.
Well, we have, at least with this one, you know, the variance wasn't needed. So the variance that did get denied back in 2019 relative to the house, that was a mistake, but it was a conforming lot. So there was no wiggle room really at all.
Yeah.
So the board at least is on good footing still. If any of you will, Dustin has told me he likes the new format of the staff reports. If y'all have any comments, hey, I like this. I don't really need to see this, or I don't think we really need to see this. Just let me know if it pops in your mind.
Okay.
I'm trying to make it easier on you all, maybe a little easier on me and easier on the public too. Although this one was agonized over quite a bit over the holidays. So.
Well, I hope you didn't lose too much brain power, brain cells over it.
I had multiple people look at them. My girlfriend used to be a planner, and What do you think? I trust her a lot. And so I was, let my mom look at it. What do you think? I mean, I was just getting various people that,
Well,
the
and that,
stormwater and environmental services manager, let him look at it. So multiple people.
and now you can go back and tell them what we looked at.
And I compared, this is the way we used to do it. This is the way I was looking at doing it. This is, which one do you like better? And,
Yeah.
several people said they like this one better.
Okay.
You kind of get everything you need to know up front, and then you can go.
Go.
So let's
Okay.
get out of here.
That's gonna, all right. Thank you all very much. Have a nice month. We'll see you next month.
Right.
Take it easy.
Oh, wait a minute. Tom, do I
Yes.
need to come by and sign something for you?
If you don't mind,
Okay. So what I'll-
I've got the resolution for last month ready.
okay, then I'll come by tomorrow. Do you want me to just come by and knock on the door, or you want me to call you, send you a text? What do you want?
You can.
Give me that.
I'm
Okay.
planning on picking up the sign first thing in the morning, so I should be here all
Okay.
morning.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Good night. See you later, Sean.